you're thinking about doing, please don't do it.
And tonight we're going to do one for the late, great Rob Reiner. I'm sure all of us have seen this film, but tonight we're talking about 1990's masterpiece, Misery. Before I get into any of it, here's where you can see it. I usually try to do these where they're free streaming at, but if you haven't seen Misery, it's worth paying to rent. So this is where you can find it at if you don't haven't seen it yet. All right, Misery. Man, this is a great movie. I'm assuming most everyone who would be watching and following my channel has probably seen this, but on the off chance that you haven't, it's absolutely one that you need to see. As you saw in that opening clip, it goes pretty hard. The plot of this one is, it's really a story centered around two characters, Paul Sheldon and Annie Wilkes. Paul Sheldon is played by James Caan, Annie Wilkes by Kathy Bates. Paul Sheldon is a romance novelist who's kind of burnt out. He writes these series of like Victorian romance novels about his main character whose name is Misery, hence the title. Double entendre there. He's kind of getting sick of it. He's just leaving his hotel in Colorado after finishing his latest book. Gets in a car accident, wakes up, and he's in bed. He's got a bunch of broken bones. He's in pretty rough shape. And he's being cared for by this nurse, Annie, played by Kathy Bates, who tells him right out of the gate that she's his #1 fan. He sees pretty quickly that she's a little bit stalkery weird. And that continues to evolve as she sneaks a peek at the manuscript and finds out that he killed the character off, who she's in love with this Misery fictional character. She does not take that well and basically tells him, you're going to write the book the right way or you're never going to leave this house here. So she basically kidnaps him, takes him captive. As the story unfolds, he discovers that she's a nurse, but she's also probably like a child serial killer who's been killing babies in the hospitals and got away with it. And then it just kind of snowballs from there. It's just a really great film. This movie came out at an integral part in my life in 1990. I graduated high school that year and went into the military, went to boot camp that year. United States Coast Guard, baby. So this one has always stuck with me as a great film, and that's kind of the end point of my discussion on Misery. Grade-wise, 8.5 out of 10 all day long. Now, if I still have you watching at this point, take a quick moment to shout out this legend who tragically passed away and was murdered yesterday, if you're watching this, December 14th, unfortunately. This dude was the man. I grew up at a period of time really watching All in the Family. Was one of the staple sitcoms of my youth. And that show would eventually lead with The Jeffersons, which would spin off of it. And with a handful of other shows, particularly Good Times, Sanford and Son. Those were shows that I don't feel get enough credit for the role they played in civil rights, where they really portrayed Black Americans not as stereotypes, which had traditionally been done up until that point, but really showed that we're all the same, and they really spoke of equality and talked about a lot of social justice issues at the time. This was through the 70s and the 80s. And Rob Reiner was at part of that with All in the Family. He's an actor and he didn't create it. But his film roles that he would go on to do, man. One of the greatest movies ever made was made by this man, which was The Princess Bride. I think it's one of the greatest screenplays ever written. It's one of the best films ever made of any genre. It's a movie that I truly love a lot. And I feel like everybody on earth should see that film. But he also, Misery was in a Stephen King adaptation. He also did an adaptation of another Stephen King work, which is another legendary film, Stand By Me. And you could just go through his credits, and it's just one great film after another. So rest in peace to a true legend and an incredible filmmaker. And thank you, Rob, if you're out there somewhere still hearing feedback and reviews. Thank you for making awesome films that entertained us all. So until next time, guys, stay weird. See you guys on the next horror review tomorrow.